Try this again. Good afternoon, ladies. Good afternoon. I should have brought my computer because I wanted to do like some theme music. They should give us intro music like they're giving everybody in the main room. So we ain't that important. But that's right. That'll be the suggestion for year 5.
Okay, I got you. What you want to hear?
I wanted to do something empowering for y'all. This is y'all conference. I'm a guest. So my name is Tony Scott. Today's session is called The Blueprint and the Barrier, Overcoming Imposter Syndrome as a Trailblazer. That's my info. I'm not going to go into all that yet. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about myself thereafter. But let's look at, I see, now it ain't going to work. Let me see. There we go. So what are we going to get from today's session? What is imposter syndrome? We're going to break that down. We're going to understand the 5 common types of imposter syndrome. Learn about its, what I call its lesser known cousin, has-been syndrome. There's going to be some reflection. This is interactive. We're going to have 3 tools to silence the inner critic, and we're going to do a Q&A period. Mel Treese, God bless her and Tasha, made it clear. Y'all that have products or services, you don't hide what you do from people. Make sure you give it all to them. So what I'm about to give you is something that you can use, and you don't need to go buy the book or a coaching session or anything for that. Obviously, I want people to buy books, but we're not going to go through that. So before I flip, I want to tell you a story. So you saw one of the things is, I think people have them. If anyone doesn't have it, then. Okay. One of my roles is as an attorney. And so I practiced for several years before I started going into administrative work. I also did legal counseling and consulting for small businesses and nonprofits. But I want to tell you a story about the first trial I ever had. So we're just going to call this the RM case. I'm not going to say the guy's name. I seriously doubt anybody in this room knows him, but still, you remember that guy. So I was doing criminal defense, and you can get clients a couple of ways. You can be a public defender. You can be assigned counsel, which you're a private practicing attorney, but you're on a list from that city, municipality, or county to do work. And so in that capacity, I was assigned this case. White guy, very unlikable. He had a punchable face. You know what it is? Like, you just see people, you're like, I should just punch. No, this beautiful creature right here that God gave me is my wife, Carmen. She's met him because we were at a bar in our neighborhood and he wouldn't stop talking. So we felt like, we got to get a new bar. We saw him there another time. He never said anything, so we still kept going there until recently they stopped. Their shots went from like this to this, so we don't go there anymore. But he was accused, unfortunately, of some very heinous things. He had 36 counts against him, all felonies, F5s or F4. So 5 is the lowest, 4, 3, 2, 1. And they were for alleged sexual acts against his 2 stepchildren. So it was 18 and 18. And allegedly this was going on for successive years. So there was 6 different years in question for each. And it was gross sexual imposition, kidnapping, and opportuning. Opportuning is essentially offering like illicit materials to minors. So 36 counts. I did not like this guy, but I believed him. The evidence was good for us. The case was weak. He had a spouse from another country. Now they're married. She got a green card. She's trying to get rid of him for good. So at the end of the day, there's what's called a Rule 29 motion. What that is, it's almost like what happened with the Diddy case, is the prosecution presents their entire case. And then you get to the point where they're finished and you can say, Your Honor, I'd like to called for a Rule 29 motion. That's essentially saying the prosecution failed to meet their case. If they don't reach all the elements of what they've charged, it doesn't go forward. He didn't even want me to do it. He never wanted to plea, and he actually was like, no, I want to get on the stand. I was like, there's no world where I was ever putting you on the stand. No world. So, stood up, I literally had to put my hand on his shoulder like, sitting there like this. And so it was granted. It was granted. Charges all dismissed, free on all 36 counts. That's my first felony case. Great story, right? Presuming he didn't do it, which again, he didn't do it. I know he didn't do it. But what I'm about to show you is an excerpt from my book that I wrote about the results from this. So read this. I'm not going to read it to you. Well, actually, can everybody see it? If not, then maybe I have to read it.
I think you should read it.
Oh, you're so bossy. Was any of y'all in her session? I heard she was talking smack about me. I've sat in her sessions and she talks about the posting up, the trust. I can't get her money to go get an OnlyFans model, and she can't go get a whatever, I guess an OnlyFans model. I don't know, whatever. I'm like, we passed all that, bro. Stop. So whenever I'm an Omega, I'm a Q. And so every now and then, yeah. So periodically, I say, bruh. She say, stop calling me a bruh. I say, stop saying bruh shit. So, but what I wrote is, the truth is, even in victory, I felt exposed. I couldn't internalize the moment as competence because I had convinced myself that real lawyers didn't struggle that much. I was embarrassed at how many days, weeks, and months that it took me to prepare for that trial. How many times I checked, rechecked, checked again, where I was placing punctuation in briefs, going through my opening arguments, practicing my objections, etc. And since I had labored and obsessed and wrung every ounce of certainty out of the process, I assumed I didn't belong. I couldn't let the win be enough because I hadn't been perfect. One thing I didn't put in here is I never even turned in the bill. I never even turned in the bill because now you got written proof of my incompetence. That's how I felt. So I definitely had overbilled, and it was only going to give me, I think, 500 to 1,000, and I had put so much effort into it that it would have been heinous. So who am I? And I keep it real in here. So some of this is good, some of this is bad. First generation college graduate, grew up in East Cleveland. I was talking to someone earlier who went to Glenville, and I said, yeah, by messing with y'all, Glenville and Collinwood, I'd been exposed to more violence and crime, had been shot at before I went to the Marine Corps during wartime. I mean, that was our life. So again, wartime USMC veteran. My mother suffered from mental illness before succumbing to it. So she ultimately died in 2012 from failure to thrive. So failure to thrive is essentially a name that they have when they can't figure out what's wrong with you. So from the time that I was 8th grade is what, around 14, I think? From the time from 14 to however old I was in 2012, I was one of her primary caregivers. I don't think I go into the story in this, but just to give some context, first year of law school. If any of you know anything about that or know someone that's very grueling, I moved my mother with the help of a friend into an apartment. She had a breakdown that night, was hospitalized the next day, and never stayed by herself again. So 2 times came home to find her having attempted suicide. So that was how severe it was. And I talk about it as well, that I always was nervous about what my own health was like. So ultimately got diagnosed PTSD, anxiety, anger management, and stress disorder. Got a lot of drugs. Alcohol abuse, failed marriages, plural. I got it right though. I did. Praise God. I got it right. Yep. So wait, y'all did, so I got to give context because from the back it might have looked like she was like, eh. So y'all saw she was doing this. Yeah, I needed you to all see that she was doing this. Okay, yes. So you see how much I'm big up in her and mine, and I got trashed in hers. I'm leaving her for an OnlyFans model. I don't even have an OnlyFans account and never have. So, true story. Bum, bum. My first 2 legal jobs dismissed. I started at a firm, and I wasn't ready. I was not mentally ready. I was not emotionally intelligent enough. There was only one other black employee, only one other black attorney there. And it just was not a culture that supported me. And again, at that time, that's when I pledged. That's when I was extremely abusive of alcohol during that time period, from the stress going on with my mom and then trying to fit into this new role. Again, remember, we're talking about imposter syndrome. This ain't me just rambling off stuff. It all goes to what made me feel I was not enough. But it's a happy ending. So as to at least the positive stuff, because yeah, that is all pretty negative. Spent 12 years at the city of Cleveland. I worked my way into multiple assistant director positions. So I've been the assistant director of building and housing, as well as the assistant director of community development. And now, as of 2 weeks ago, I'm the director of housing and community development for Cuyahoga County. So that's major serious imposter syndrome. Yeah, no, you thought I was about to big up myself. No, I'm sitting there like, so, and then I guess not the most recent, but recently wrote 2 books, actually, finally got finished. I started writing in 2014, published both this year, self-published. And as I said, happily and successfully married with God as the head of our household to this lovely creature here. I need you to rewrite your speeches to make me look better. Seriously. Bruh, I mean, I downplay myself enough. I don't need your help. So I do like to check my notes, just make sure I don't forget something important. So, all right. What is imposter syndrome? Y'all tell me. Y'all came to the class, so you saw something because you had 5 others you could have been in, so thank you. So just start rattling some stuff off before I start calling on people like we in school. Hello, ma'am. You can't answer. You can't answer.
Not feeling like you're in the right place or that you don't fit in a certain space.
Good.
You're not worthy of success. You know, not good enough.
Good. Nope. Oh, thought you said something. Yes.
Almost like, never mind.
Come on, Maria. We pulling you out that shell. You attached to her, you attached to me, so.
Almost like you're. I don't know.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, like. Yeah.
I didn't hear it.
Like you shouldn't be here.
Mm-hmm. Danny?
Others' opinions influence and prompt self-doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Constantly exposed.
Oh, I like that one. I'm gonna steal that.
I feel like it's, for me,
Mhm.
it's not wanting to show up because it's like, well, what do I have to say? Or what would make me so important that they would listen to me? Or
I feel
why
that.
do I feel like I'm worthy of fill in the blank?
No, I feel that.
Feeling like you're actually not in certain spaces, not being able to, or not thinking that you can show up.
Ooh. That's the first book, but that touched, because authenticity is extremely important, and we don't necessarily have safe spaces to be authentic in.
Disqualify the things you feel equipped for
Mm-hmm.
in advance to be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All are correct. Let me be clear. All are correct. I just pulled this one out because it touches on what is the word I always use? Fraud. Fraud. You feel like you're a fraud. Fake it till you make it. We all heard that. And so a persistent internalized fear of being exposed as a fraud despite evidence of success. My resume is cold, y'all. It is. But it's only in the last few years that I really started showing up as myself. Only in the last few years. So I wasted a lot of time. Yeah, I'm at that age where I just say stuff now. Yeah, no, I do. I think I shifted a relationship with a council member one time because I was at one of his community forums, and I'm very honest. I'm very transparent. Meltrice likes to say I'm direct. Mean. I don't strive to be mean, but I am direct, and I think part of that is I'm older now. Got more things to do, got more I need to say, but I want it to be succinct and get it to where it needs to go. The councilman story. So I'm at the community engagement meeting. I'm being very direct, being very honest. And what I say is, someone says to me, you should run. I said, I'll never run for public office. I like being myself too much. I said, if you ever see me run for office, beat me over the head. And it was a councilman in the room, and I heard that he went back talking to my boss, and boss started acting like a little poo butt after that, but I ain't like that job anyway. So I let him get that off the first time, the boss, and then the second time he did it, I said, you know what, 2 fingers. I was out within 2 months, and that's when I went from a commissioner to an assistant director. So, but point that I want to bring up, during my research, about 70%, allegedly about 70% of us suffer from imposter syndrome. I argue that is more because people may lack a certain level of self-awareness. They may not know the term, or they may think, I'm not even worthy enough to have imposter syndrome. They don't even realize how great they are, so it minimizes them. But why does it hit trailblazers? Yo, first gens, me, black, brown professionals the hardest. What, before I throw out some answers, if I have any left after y'all, why do y'all think it impacts us? And actually, I do want to point out something before I go to questions. I meant to lead off with thanking you ladies for being here, not just in my session, but at this conference period. The fact that you're here, whether you got a sponsorship, whether you paid for it, whether you snuck in the back door and stole a name tag, because people keep leaving them all over the place. Whatever reason, you're here, which means you understand you're living in a purpose. You're looking to do something more, whether it's breaking generational curses, whether it's ascending to that next plateau. So I commend you for doing that, and I appreciate it. And this isn't from any kind of misogynistic mansplaining, like you need my validation. I'm a husband, a son, a father, all women, so I respect you. I always say that the black woman is the strongest creature God created. What you deal with from the womb, you're marginalized off rip. You face what's known as a double bind just off the gender and your race. Never mind whatever traumas you picked up along the way. Never mind the systemic barriers that exist that perpetuate the marginalization, as well as, us. We suck as men. I was a horrible man in the past. Most days I'm decent, but she still think I'm horrible. So you do that again? Nah, I'm just kidding. Again, part of imposter syndrome is being very self-deprecating, and so I do that often. So I hide behind a lot of humor. So I don't know if I'm trying to be funny or if I'm feeling like that little 8-year-old little boy or something like that. I don't know. My therapist went on maternity leave for 4 months, so I'm just out here like. I don't know. She was like, you could talk to someone else. I was like, it took me forever to talk to you. What? I'm about to talk to somebody. I don't like people. I don't trust people. And she a white woman, especially not you. Yeah. Now you gone. And then she broke it to me one day just crazy. We had this session. It's this very difficult session. And then, by the way, I'm like, oh, I blew down on her. I was like, wait a minute. Oh, you don't do that. What's wrong with your bedside manner? I said this. That's what I said. I can be very direct. And I still felt some kind of way the next session. And she must have anticipated that because she started the session apologizing again. We got through it. But I'm just going to get a new therapist, period. No. I've switched therapists. The one I was with for the longest, we had got too close to the point where I'm like, what you talking about? And he was a brother, so I was like, anyway. So having said all that, I did just want to acknowledge you, applaud you, appreciate you, celebrate you. And from that space, recognizing that you are putting this effort in, understanding that you get hit the hardest. You get hit the hardest. I never appreciated that men don't talk about this subject, but even a moment ago, young lady in the back's like, a man talking about imposter syndrome? I've learned that this weekend. I've heard it about 5 times between yesterday and today. Yeah, yes. So, revelatory. So I'm still learning as well. But talk to me why, I've kind of said some things, but why do y'all think it hits trailblazers? Is anybody else first generation college graduate? That's all right, you will. We're going to speak it into existence. Speak it into existence. And obviously, black and brown professionals. Why do you think it hits us the hardest? Please.
Okay, so I'm also going to speak with like people with like disabilities.
Yes. Yes.
I think it's just, well, internalized like ableism or like the thing that like that society puts on us.
Mhm.
That, like, oh, like you're this, you're that, you're that. Like you're not supposed to be that. And then you're that. You are the thing that they said that you're not supposed to be, and you don't see people that look like you too. So it's like, oh no.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. No, very much so. Very much so.
Never really having that from your parents, even if they were decent, they didn't know.
Yeah.
Especially my generation. And we're trying to change the trajectory of ours, but still not knowing, oh, I am. It's it kind of like you do something, you see it, but then it's still that internalization.
Very much so. Very much so. I'm sorry.
I was going to say something similar.
Okay.
I was going to speak from a first-gen perspective. You don't know, like your parents didn't have, for me, college was kind of like this experience of networking and power and all of these things. And that's something my parents didn't experience. So therefore, they didn't teach me how to move in those spaces.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's where the imposter syndrome comes, because I wasn't taught or I didn't see examples of how to live and
You said and you said, well, I'm coming, but representation. Representation matters. Representation matters. So if you don't see people that look like you, then you can't conceptualize it.
Also genetically, there are, so when we talk about post-traumatic stress syndrome, but what happens to people when 400 years of consistent, what happens to their physiology? When 400 years of consistent bombardment and oppression, without any real clear and consistent acknowledgement that has existed to a people. And so part of it is that.
There's a word that's escaping me right now, but it's a field of study that speaks to our DNA being imprinted on epigenetics. Thank you. And I'm a firm believer of that, because it doesn't just go away. That much trauma, that much evil that's not healed has to go somewhere. What's the first rule of thermodynamics? Constantly create new energy. So that energy goes somewhere. And again, as I mentioned when I was talking about the double bind, unfortunately, as a black male, I come out with at least one systemic barrier, at least one. Y'all come out with two. So we already internalized that. We already know and learn at a very young age, especially in this political climate, that we're not part of the system. Not only are we not a part of the system, we're not living apart and aside like Marcus Garvey and the Garveyites wanted to go live somewhere else. That probably would have been, honestly, in theory, a good practice, and because you're in a society that you build without being torn down. No, we know that we're being tore up by society. It's everywhere. You can't watch a cartoon without being reminded. I remember I used to think Tom and Jerry was the funniest thing, and I was like, what the hell was Mamie doing? What the hell? Thomas! Thomas! Always in her slippers with a rolling pin. I'm like, damn. So we're constantly reminded that we're less than. So we got to overcompensate. So anyone else want to jump into that one before I throw some things out? Please.
I would just say it's similar to what the sister back there said, but never having been affirmed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 61. I was born in 1961.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 64 now.
And you look great, sister.
Thank you. And I will tell you, my mother took me to Kresge's to eat what they call a five and dime store, to eat at the counter, the same counter that the nine had, stuff. And it was the biggest deal in the world. But remember, she grew up during heavy oppression.
She
Her
couldn't sit
sisters
there.
all could pass for white. She was the only one that was dark. Therefore, her kids were the only ones that were dark. So we had to deal with the paper bag contest, the being a dark skinned black at the time. It was just unreasonable and very oppressive to be a dark skinned black. You know, you really aspire to be a light skinned black so that at least you can fit in.
So I was gonna say assimilate.
Get treated better.
Yep.
And so my mom had extreme low self-esteem.
Okay.
Which means I was the only daughter.
Okay.
That, never having been affirmed, never, and you try so hard. You try so hard your whole life to be, and you achieve, and I've always been an overachiever.
Yep.
Still trying.
Yep.
And still trying, and still trying to get, maybe you're seeking for acceptance, but you really don't need to be, and if you never think you got it, then you're always feeling like an imposter.
You're always feeling empty because you're always in search of. Then you must say, oh.
Again, it's that, once you get to a season and a moment and you break through with maybe not even having someone, a village to get you to that point, it's this age factor, right?
Yeah.
We have to wrap ourselves around
Yeah.
and also help our younger folks understanding.
Yeah.
But appreciate this, Danny. You've had your career is a great career. You have a great story. You have done a lot of this work that a lot haven't, and meaning is self-discovery. That's one of the things that I was gonna say is self-awareness. That intellectual process that you go through as you mature, as you strive to better yourself, you're gonna become more aware of, you start knowing what you don't know. And what you do know, you don't have that much confidence in. And it'll ebb and flow at different seasons, depending upon how you are being received. If you're at a job that's very affirming, that creates opportunities for you, then you're gonna internalize your success. You're more likely to internalize your success. But then the flip side of that is, they just needed a quota. That's when I first got my job in the law firm. That's the first thing. Yeah. I felt that they, when I had hair, it was a good grade. I had curly hair. So they hated me. Light skin.
Wait a minute, what's a good grade?
No, hear me out. No, fair enough. No, fair me out. Because you speak to the assumption, the way people treat our darker hued sister.
The texture of
Yeah. Conversely, there was a period during my generation where it was the pushback. So because I was light skinned, I had good hair, air quotes, calm down now. I know. But because of that, you got marginalized a different way. You was like, well, damn, where'd my privilege go? I thought I had privilege. But you too young to realize you ain't that shit. You didn't. So, but another thing, it's the self-awareness. You start becoming aware of what you don't. You start seeing yourself getting passed over for opportunities. And I think you said that, I believe. Was it one of you two ladies? Somebody said it. We all one big circle of trust here. So someone said it, but you don't get what you deserve and are qualified for. So you start questioning your qualifications.
that's right.
You start questioning, why do I feel I even deserve this? I got this far. I should be lucky. Well, but, and again, I've said it, I've more critical of ourselves. That's kind of intrinsic in all this that we're talking about. And you become more aware of the systems, the systemic barriers that are against you. And so that's why it hits us harder, because we've done the work to get to these spaces. The title of the book is out there, Overcome Imposter Syndrome, You Belong at the Table.
Yes.
And that table looks different for different people. I remember one sister said in a different presentation, she said, not only do I belong at the table, I'm going to create the table and I'm going to bring the chair with me.
Yeah.
Completely respect that. But that's somebody that has the audacity to know, compared to most of us don't. I think it's later in here, but I want to, as we get ready to start talking about the different types, there's 5 types, and you'll see yourself in some of them, if not multiple ones. Understand that we know it exists. We know we feel it in some degree or another. We know that it can hold us back. We'll talk about some of those things in a moment, how it holds us back. But you can overcome it. But it really starts, you got to be courageous. You have to be vulnerable. You have to be audacious. And you got to do you got to do the work. If you don't understand the origin of these traumas, because that's what it is. It's trauma. And it can show up in different ways. We all can appreciate lack of affirmation, bullying, harassment, exclusion. We can all appreciate that impacting us the way it does. But there's one person I interviewed who actually was praised too much. She was praised too much. So when she actually matter of fact, let me just go to this next slide. These are 2 of the 5. The perfectionist. If it's not flawless, I fail. And the superhuman. If I don't do everything and do it perfectly, I'm falling short.
Yes.
The young lady I'm talking about graduated high school young, maybe I think she was 16 when she graduated. And even when she graduated, she already had a year of college under her belt and was exceeding. Went to law school, that first year, first problems. Her worst class was legal writing. And to legal writing I thought my undergrad is in English. I just knew I was a great writer. And I got my be cognizant of the audience. I got hazed in legal writing because it's not exposition. It's not creative writing. It's a very specific, boring type of writing. And I didn't subscribe to that. And I think that might have been what happened with her as well, because she didn't do well at legal writing. So her world unraveled. I've never had problems. I always excelled. I was always that one. But then that created at that point this self-doubt that followed her throughout law school. And unfortunately, she didn't pass the bar. And the job she had, she got moved out of it as a result. So she didn't take the bar exam the next time after. She took it most recently and is waiting on her results. But there has been growth. She ain't over it, but she's going through it now. She has that self-awareness and she's doing that work. So that's the perfectionist. The superhuman. There's a slight distinction between it because the perfectionist isn't necessarily going out of their way. They're just used to everything that they're doing goes flawlessly. The superhuman volunteers for everything, goes everywhere, and they're still trying to find their village. They're trying to find their voice, maybe. They're looking for something. And by doing it and doing it well, would you say the affirmations, the accolades, you start getting that acknowledgement, you may feel a little bit better in yourself, but maybe not. Meltrice and I, we did a podcast in preparation for this, and I was talking about the self-deprecation. You know, when you minimize yourself, people say, oh man, you did a great job. You're like, nah, I didn't do it. The team did it. And that's great to give your people props. As a leader, that's what you're supposed to do, but still step up and acknowledge what you've accomplished. It was your leadership, your vision, at least your management, at the least, that helped contribute to that project. But completely removing yourself, not taking the accolades, the affirmations, feeling uncomfortable, I'm definitely that one. Right now, I've had a very blessed 2025, and consciously my mind is like, what's 2026 gonna look like? Like, damn, the shoe gonna drop. But now I know to talk myself out of it. And I said, you know what? I'm already booking engagements in 26. I already got another book that's substantially written that I got time to get into, as well as some other things. So I'm like, nah, 26 is gonna be good. But I saw it coming, and I stepped back and was like, nah, get out of there. I always say it's the little annoying little elf tapping you on your shoulder, or imp. Yeah, imp. So the natural genius, that's that other person as well. If I struggle, I'm not really smart. The soloist, they gotta do it all themselves. Can't trust it to, somebody just, I saw two overt gestures like, oh shit, that's shiggity, that's my spot. So, yeah. Now part of that, so when I was, and the expert, I'll never know enough to be ready. So everybody keeps getting another degree, more certificates. It's not always, so again, it's a very slim margin between it being a act to try to address this, to find your voice, to find your lane, to seek your place, versus you are very intentional on where you're trying to go. It's a very thin line. And you'll only know, what I tell you, it's hard. It's that self-awareness. You got to dig in the crate, unpack it all. You remember when you were 4 years old and somebody stole your toy and you got beat up by your mama because you ain't go get your toy back, and you start carrying that. That actually is not my story, but I told it so well you would think it is. It's probably when I stole the toy, actually. Thank you, Jesus, for deliverance. Glory. I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. I was saying, actually, it takes you knowing, it takes you, again, digging in the crate, unpacking what all of this is so that you can figure out what is your motivation? What is your why? What is your purpose? If you going to school because you don't want to move out your mama's house, that's probably the guy group versus the girl group, unfortunately. But you still want to be in the house. If you're there because y'all have made a cognizant choice that this is the direction to go in order to save and be able to step into this space, nothing wrong with that. But if you look at yourself and you realize that I'm just not ready to grow up, like I said, I'm not being funny. That probably is more of a guy group than you ladies, but it's a reality. So again, the natural genius, the soloist, the expert. These aren't exclusive. They're not exhaustive either, because there's other ways that it can show up. But more importantly, they're not exclusive, because you can see different times how this is you. Or even in your 9 to 5, you may be one. In your 5 to 9, you're another. You on all these boards, you trying to do all this, do that. Are you serving just to serve, which is noble, or are you looking for something? And is what you're looking for beneficial or counterintuitive to what's in your best interest? Any questions on those 5? Okay. They're relatively self-explanatory. So this is the fun part. Well, nope, we'll go through this first. So, I forgot to say in the beginning, my transitions, some of them suck. I'm sorry, I realized it earlier and I didn't think that I would have access to to change it. And then I ended up logging myself in, so I could have done it. Anyway, that was supposed to come down last, but we're going to do that too. Financially, because that's what we're here for, right? So I am about to mansplain something now. I'm not intending to, but I want to make sure that it's clear. If you don't know your value, you don't know what you're worth, what you deserve, you don't know your why, and you find that audacity to push forward it, you're never going to see your true financial, optimal financial condition. You won't, because you're going to undercharge. You won't negotiate. There's a story in the book about a sister that was an attorney, again, had that perfect life up to a certain point with no struggle, but then she started struggling when she just started practicing, and she found a niche, stayed in it, even though she didn't want to be there, and was never being acknowledged or affirmed or promoted. So what was supposed to just be 2-3 days, 2-3 years, ended up being 15 years in the exact same spot, wanting more. So she didn't fully appreciate her value. And even when she went to the next position, they lowballed her. But she's aware of it. She's aware of it. Professionally, you avoid opportunities, you downplay leadership, you don't command what's yours. And that kind of goes back to the previous person, because she didn't step into her space. I want to be clear. I interview guys and girls, men and women in the book. So none of this is something that I'm suggesting is unique to you. Other than the comments that I specifically have said, female, she, her, this would be the exact same presentation that you give to men. So I wanted to be clear on that. But you don't step into those spaces. And if you get your hands slapped enough times, you're not going to try. You're not going to try. But once you do the work, once you learn how to, I think it was this morning, the pastor was talking about negative self-talk. Once you understand it, you start questioning, where does it come from? I was like, she about to steal my presentation. I told her that. I was like, what? I was like, I'm about to steal some of your stuff back. She's like, at least you asked, because my brother just took my stuff. I was like, the nudge. She's like, yeah. But you try for a management position so many times and you wonder, why am I not getting it? You want to be that director. You want to be that treasurer or the president of the board, but you keep getting overlooked no matter how much you give it. It's not your season. It's not your time. And you hear that, you start internalizing. You say, what you do? If you're smart, you may look for another opportunity that's more aligned with your purpose. But that ain't always easy. So what do? You recoil. You go do it somewhere else. And to be clear, maybe you land in a better spot, but maybe you don't. Emotional, burnout, anxiety, isolation. You're like, man, I don't get it. Why? Just, you have just Sunday night, you just start drinking because you know you got to go to work on Monday. I'm the only one that did that? Okay. Guess mine is more acute than y'all's. But in all sincerity, you start finding those things you dread going to work, or you dread going to this specific meeting because you're going to deal with this person who just offends your spirit. Because you know that person gives you the negative self-talk. You know that person is the one that creates your anxiety. Every time they talk to you, they give you an assignment and they contribute to your burnout. All that one person. So you just, again, what I say about that first case, you got that punchable face. At this point, every time you see that person in your mind, you just knocked them out. What am I? I was like, thank you. I was like, am I the only one?
I received that.
I was like, maybe it's some. I was like, maybe I do need to go find another therapist. Shoot, meds ain't working. So we're gonna do two things. And because this is more intimate than I thought it will be, we're not going to really worry about writing things down. But I do kind of want y'all to talk with each other, right? Talk with each other. How, even just this far in the conversation, what are you seeing in yourself? How have you already overcome some pieces? How are you in the midst of it? Have you just got hit with something revelatory? You're like, ooh. Talk about it amongst yourselves for just a few minutes, and then we'll just we'll find the brave souls. I ain't got no raffle gift to give you, but it's the gift of love. I don't know. So just,
Do you mind going back to the
yeah. So I'm gonna go to the first one. The first two, the perfectionist, the superhuman, the natural genius, the soloist, and the expert. Make sure everybody's engaged, so that's why I said we hot mic. The first two were the perfectionist and superhuman. Take about 2 more minutes. 2 more minutes. One more minute. 1 more minute. All right, ladies, we're going to come back together if we may. I want to make sure we get through. I know. It's okay. It's okay. Let's come back together, everybody. I need a whistle. I know. All right. Who wants to let's do some sharing here. Let's do some sharing. Where's those bold, brave souls? I was like,
I just got voluntold.
I was gonna say, don't get quiet, cause y'all was immersed.
It was 3 of us, not 2. So
That's okay. No, that's a good thing. I love the dialogue. I love the exchange. I really do. It's extremely affirming. So thank you.
Well, all 3 of us pretty much were almost identical as far as the perfectionist, the superhero, and the expert. I have 5 degrees, and my spiritual mother told me, don't you never go get not damn one more piece of paper. Like, don't keep doing that. Like, live your best life now. And definitely the perfectionist, I'm very hard on myself with that. And even with the superhuman, like I just did a huge graduation party for my godson, and everybody's like, oh my God, this is amazing. But I didn't feel like it was amazing because there were a few things on my list that didn't get checked off. They didn't even know about the list.
Right. Right.
But
Yep.
to me, I was like, this sucks. I can't believe I didn't get
Yes.
the pool table in here. Like
Yes.
those little things.
You say the pool table.
Yes, I wanted to see that over the top.
You wanted to? Can you rent a pool table?
Yes, you can.
Oh, okay.
and the group was focused so good that I understand that.
Yes, yes, I wanted the pool table.
I get it.
The game truck.
I get it.
Some things didn't happen, so.
I did something very petty last week. I'm actually ashamed of myself. But no, I'm really not that ashamed of myself. So the book launch for the second book was last week, and I did not get the turnout that I did the first time. I'm okay with that. Things ebb, things flow. It's getting well reviewed, yada, yada, yada. But head counts. If anybody's ever planned an event, you appreciate head counts. Black people don't like RSVPing.
They do not. They don't think that means for them.
Yeah, and they don't respect when you don't show. So I actually started blowing down on people.
You said you were mean, so I get it. No, I'm teasing.
My sister sent everybody a bill for that didn't show up for her wedding. She sent them a $75 bill per.
I've heard that. I've heard of that before too. And I got all these excuses and this, that, and the other. And so it made me, we talked about it. Sometimes you get tired of showing up for people that don't show up for you. Right, that's all right. Sometimes you get tired of that. So we had I'm about to be, all right, cone of silence. I won't say which group or affiliation I'm talking about, but I had something that was scheduled at my house and I never put it out. I just knew I was going to do it. I told Carmen, hell no, I ain't doing that shit. I am not doing that. I'm not about to go spend my time and my money because you'll show up for that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Set out the bar, put some chicken on the grill, you'll show up for that. You'll come empty-handed.
Right.
And you'll drink up all the good. You're gonna drink up all the good liquor. We're gonna put the cheap stuff here. You're gonna somehow find your way in the basement. So yeah, I was petty, but it's because you think it's supposed to go this perfect way, and it didn't. And it started creeping into me about the quality of my work, as well as y'all don't show up. Like, man, y'all hated the first one that much, you ain't come to the second one? But then I stopped rationalizing, like, that's their world. I'm not worried about it. I'm good. So completely feel it. Completely feel it. Who else? Who else saw themselves? Yes, ma'am.
So Kendra and I, we talked about the superhuman syndrome, like feeling like, if it's not perfect, we fall short. And I was telling her personally, in my personal life, I feel like I suffer from like the soloist, not really wanting to ask for personal help when I need it. And then a time where I felt like I suffered from imposter syndrome. I was telling her there was a job position that I could have applied for last year, but I didn't because I had a coworker who needed full benefits and she was pregnant and she had all these things. And so I was qualified for the job. I think I could have done the job in my sleep, but I decided not to apply for it so she could get it. But
Wow.
Sometimes I'm empathetic, like to my own detriment. Clearly.
But did she get it?
She didn't get it.
Okay, good.
And got
Is
her
she good at it?
maternity leave, but
Is she good at it?
She's okay.
What is it? You said it not as good as I would have been. Right. Right. I heard that.
Sacrifice. Congratulations. That was good.
Yeah. You know.
So we talked about the natural genius and struggling with not feeling you're smart enough, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Merle was in college and was on the dean's list,
Okay.
but she internalized,
Was it
well, why
just-
not the
yeah.
president's list, right? Was it good enough?
Oh.
And so it's just kind of like, I did this, I achieved this while working full time, but I
Yeah.
could have been, should have been
Right.
done,
Yeah.
you know, at the top and should have done more. And so where it presents is sometimes blocking her from at work giving her ideas, even though she feels that they're good ideas,
Yeah.
but because she feels that they're going to fall on deaf ears because
Yeah.
she's not smart enough, or they're not taking those suggestions because she doesn't feel she's smart enough. And so just continuing to try to achieve more and do more, even though those achievements are phenomenal and are great achievements, but always feeling like you need to do more and be more.
We're hard on ourselves. We do not give ourselves grace. I am told that all the time at home. But you have to find that space. No rapping intended. You got to find that space to give yourself grace. You really do. And we'll get into that a little bit with some suggestions to take with you to try to build you up. I do want to go back just to only because I heard it. There was oh, wait a minute. Nope, wrong way. That one question, just an opportunity you talked yourself out. And you touched on it. I'm just curious if anybody else has that experience where you talked yourself out of applying for something. Okay. Oh, you got it? Anybody? Go ahead.
I'm oversharing.
It's okay.
I told y'all I drank too much.
I might be right there with you. We might not.
It's Sunday night.
It's not football season. Okay.
Still kind of counts.
So I've done this before. I do this a lot. And then what I realized that is what I was doing. Like I'm underselling myself.
Mhm.
I'm underappreciating myself and my work.
Mm-hmm.
And I've just started really over the last 2 years realizing that God's putting me in places for a reason.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Introducing me to people for a reason. Like these people don't fall into your life
Mm-hmm.
for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
I've gone to school for everything you could think of.
Hmm.
I've done all of these great things, and then I'm still not in this space. I can pull everybody along. I can pull everybody with me, but when I can get you right, literally side by side to me, or above me. But when I got to the place where I had to step into somewhere where it just made me uncomfortable because there was no representation,
Mm-hmm.
I would have been
Mm-hmm.
very much so low because I thrive in spaces of community.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I just got into a space where there was a VP position that I was told multiple times, but I just didn't feel like it was by the right people.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Go for it. Go for it. You have everything on that job. They release job descriptions. You have everything on that job description. And I didn't do it.
Mm.
My mentor didn't do it. The person that it reports to, I had a conversation with them about it, and I pretty much got told, like, why didn't you do it?
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately it went to a white man, but I didn't even see myself in the running.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't even see myself in that space.
Mhm.
But other people saw me there, and I just couldn't get past that. So I kicked myself, a little bit, but I know this is a learning curve and a learning process.
Apply for that next one.
And you apply for the next one, or you apply somewhere else.
Yeah. Never so. It's not so much a note on imposter syndrome, but just for career development. If there's an opportunity you want, don't self-select yourself out. It's better to go through the process. You don't get it, you don't get it. You do get it, you make the choice. My current job, I was tapped multiple times, and I decided nah. And then the last day, I applied, and I applied with my best effort, but my heart still wasn't in it. Sadly, my heart changed because I heard someone else that was in contention. And I didn't do it from a petty, I did it to protect myself because me and that person were in the same organization. So if that person left, I didn't want with what was left. Okay. I didn't want that problem, that smoke. Yeah, and so I got it. I'm glad, and I'm gonna give it all I got. It's not something reluctant. I want to be clear. I won't get into my passion, purpose, paycheck story. That's a different one. But it's not my purpose, but I am passionate about it. So I got one more here, one more there, and then because they gave me the hand gesture.
Really quick, with imposter syndrome, how do you reconcile what people seeing you, say about you, say they should advance you forward? How do you reconcile like, what others are seeing versus what you can't even
see.
conceptualize in your head? And
Hold that one, because we're getting there. I don't want to just give you the problem without giving you some tools to work with it. They're actually not that complicated. You just have to apply them. Yes, ma'am.
So once you understand your value, you will be paid your worth. And my assistant just showed that to me because she resigned because we weren't paying her enough. And she was like, Dolores, you have always told me to do that. So once you really, truly understand that, and I was around my whole life. I wanted to be a ballerina, then maybe take tap dance. Got a book signing on Sunday, next Sunday. I hope my friends will show up. My last book I wrote, everybody from Cleveland came, but I live in Canton. Only 3 people from Canton came.
That's crazy.
So, you know, it's just, I feel you.
And she was on the Oprah Winfrey Show for one of her first.
Okay. Let's make sure we talk. That's good stuff. I love meeting other authors. But no, I agree with you. But that takes, again, it keeps going back. It's not overly complicated. Once you do the work, you understand what the trauma is, and then you intentionally and consistently, audaciously do the work to know your value, but then have the courage to demand your worth. Have the courage to demand your worth. So let's get into. Oh, I did want to talk briefly about the cousin has-been syndrome. Now, what's kind of crazy is as I started reading this and I learned about it, I was like, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. That's nothing there. But I was working on an audiobook for the current book, and I was talking to the engineer, and we just got to talking about doing all this other creative stuff. And then I realized how nervous I am to step into another genre, to be concerned about how it'll be received. I was scared how my wife would receive it, because I said I want to do like black romance, black erotica, which is not a very strong space for men. But it's a fictional space that I can appreciate, but it's so divergent from everything else that I've written, and it's different from how people perceive me versus how I perceive myself. I've done the work so I can appreciate that who I was and who I am have a space to reconcile. And honestly, this work is more purpose driven. That's more, it's a greater commodity. It has a monetized value more than what this work, what these books do, not the presentations, but that's a different conversation. So has-been syndrome, I've done X, Y, Z and have reached a certain space, but then as kind of one of these components, I'm afraid to grow or try something different. The person I interviewed was a former athlete who got hurt and never fully realized their promise in the league and spent a lot of time still being flossy without earning anything. So he's just depleting his savings, going through it all. And eventually he got into a space where he was humbled and he got into working as an intern in real estate development. Now he's back to being a multimillionaire, but he had to do the work. So it's really just, you hit it, you get comfortable, you get that job you think you wanted, and you stop looking for more. Now, let me be clear, there's nothing wrong with finding your space and staying in it. Remember, I'm talking about that balance of knowing the difference. I want more, but I'm scared to go after it. I'm not talking about I'm good, 9 to 5 is great, the bank is banking, let me go do this in my 5 to 9. Or I've done this long enough, let me go find a passion project and do that. That's that courage, keeps coming back to courage. That's that courage, that audacity to go into a new space. So that's has-been syndrome. My epiphany. So this is where it starts coming into play. This is where you've acknowledged the problem, and then you start realizing, and it's likely with the help of a friend, therapist, both, significant other. If you have that village that affirms you, they may help you realize you're not working to your potential. You're not working your potential. So it starts going back to, you have to have other people see you. My wife tells me, and I promise I didn't plant her in here, but I say these things when she isn't here. You know, she has breathed so much life into me. She'll tell me, you're the greatest man I know. I can't digest that to this day. I cannot. That just doesn't make sense to me. I was like, you know, I did this, and this. She was like, that was then. God forgave you, forgive yourself. Give yourself grace. I'm like, I mean, I know I say that in class, but you don't expect me to do that on my own, do you? Like, So, and we've heard it several times. Danielle, I think, was the first person that said it yesterday. You are enough. I don't know most of you in this room, but I know if you were not purpose driven, you wouldn't be here. You see yourself as being more. Your friends see you as being more. Listen to them. They're your friends for a reason. Talk to your therapist. If you aren't in therapy, get in therapy. Get coaches, mentors, people that can get sponsors. I'm sorry, let me not forget the sponsors. Does everybody know the difference between a mentor and a sponsor? I'm going to say it anyway. I don't want to put nobody on the spot. A mentor is someone that helps you. They move you along. You may meet with some frequency. They may be at your level. They may be more seasoned, because there is a thing such as a peer mentor. A sponsor is someone that says your name in rooms that you're not even in. Y'all know who y'all should pick for this position? Merle. Y'all know who y'all should put in place? Tony. They'll do this, this, and this. They become your cheerleader, for lack of a greater term. Find them that help you get to where you see you're enough. So, track your receipts. We don't celebrate ourselves enough. We find the problems. We can talk about the problems all day long. Oh, God, I did this wrong. I did that wrong. I ain't get the pool table. You did not get the pool table. But what did you get? No, tell me some stuff.
Oh, I had like 10-foot, like huge posters with his face all over the walls. We had a
Expensive.
360. We had
Expensive.
I had 3 cake tables. Like,
Expensive.
Over the top.
Fattening.
It was over the top. It was.
See, but it will be remembered. You set a standard that some of them will now try to emulate, and he may never get flowers like that again. My birthday is next month. All I ever want to do on my birthday is sit at home. It never happens because somebody always got to do something extra, even if I don't want to do it. They're like, what do you want to do for Father's Day? Y'all leave. They don't leave. They take me with them. So give yourself your flowers. Acknowledge what you're doing right and keep journal that. You journal everything else that went wrong. You on social media looking at, oh my God, y'all got to pray for me. This went wrong. This went wrong. What you're not doing is, Lord, thank you for giving me this. I told you 2025 has been a great year, but I'm going to keep it a secret between just us little people in here and whoever's going to see that on social media. I hate social media. I'm actually an introvert, if you can believe it. I created this persona 30 years ago because I knew I was destined. I had a purpose to do more. Now I just came to yet another epiphany. I was like, I'm 52, I'll be 53. So that means I've been this creation longer than I'm alive. So I guess maybe I'm actually this person. So maybe I'm not an introvert anymore. I just thought I was really intentional. So yeah, celebrate yourself. Get that brag bag. Put yourself out there. Put yourself out there. Let other people start giving you your flowers, but start with you. Progress over perfection. You do not need to be flawless to move forward. Analysis paralysis. You ever heard that term?
Yeah.
You just stuck. You're not moving. One of the,
Why you in my business?
I mean, oh, this is Sunday, so you should feel like your feet getting all stepped on. Although I'm gonna be clear, not a pastor. She was like, I ain't gonna be no first lady. No, I'm just kidding. But I've always said, people said that to me in my past. They was like, maybe you're supposed to be a pastor. I was like, Lord, let this cup pass from me. I do not want that. I do not want that. Oh, I'm gonna keep saying, let this cup pass from me until I get poured over. Anyway, anywho. I'm the prodigal son. I get back home eventually. Nah, I'm just kidding. But again, movement, momentum, celebrate it. What did we say in the beginning? Celebrate that momentum. You want to start this consulting business, then you decide that, and I want to be at this point in 5 years. So what do I need to be in 3 years, 2 years, 1 year, next month? What can I do today to get me to that place? And have the courage and the audacity to do it. Progress. Build or find your table. Be around people who affirm your growth. And we already kind of talked, battery's running low. Where is it? We are almost done. Might want to plug in your PC. But who's pouring into you? And if you're the smartest person in your circle, go find a new circle. Find people that pour into you and that can help you get to where you're trying to go. Because if they've already been there, they know what the road looks like, and they can tell you which landmines to skip. And they will, back to your question, listen to these people that see this in you. Find a circle that's, again, going the same direction so they'll pour into you and you'll start acknowledging it. But it's after you've done the work. See, it's all thematic. Recognize you got an issue, do the work to resolve it, and then use these tools to stay in that space and then try to use it to avoid the negative self-talk. Granted, society won't beat you down enough. Society will beat you down enough. You do not need to make it any easier for them. So think about who is in your universe that you need to pull closer, and the obvious that some you might need to repel, push away from you. leave with this thought. So here's to appreciate a full circle moment. Graduated from Shaw in East Cleveland and actually was able to give the 2025 commencement speech. That was so affirming to my spirit to be able to do it. Thank you. Thank you. So I'm going to read it. Your story, struggles, and growth all matter. You are who you are because of your struggles, experiences, traumas, not despite them. You're not a fraud. You're not a has-been. You are the blueprint. And that's it. That is it. Thank you. Thank you. My socials and all that is at my table.